afternoon, good morning, good whatever, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whew. Another day, another day, another day of sorts. Um, Welcome. Okay, let me plug this up so we can be ready. And I think that today, I might have done the pre-work, like to figure out what is going on ahead of time. Um, I'm proud of myself today. Proud of myself today for sure. So welcome to Sex Ed with Coach Catasha. Today is Ask Coach Catasha. And what is Ask Coach Catasha? Ask Coach Catasha is your live Q&A with a certified sexuality educator, which is me. If you have any questions surrounding health, sex, relationships, um, body, any kind of questions that have to do with sexual health, and you have not found a place that you can ask those questions before now, you have landed in that place. So that's what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be answering your sexual health questions. Um, Some of them we have received in advance, but if you are joining us and you also would like to ask your own sexual health questions, you are encouraged to leave your questions in the chat. Now, let me say this. um, every Wednesday, my TikTok gets taken away. every Wednesday, it gets taken away. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Because I am here for you. I am here to help you. I am here to be a resource and an asset for you. And um, I cannot concern myself with those types of things, right? So I am just here to answer your questions. I am here to give you a judgmental, non judgmental, unbiased answer to your sexual health questions. So let's talk about how we do this, okay? How we do this and keep our accounts. Now, they will take mine away, but I will get it back. I will get it back. I don't know how that works for you. So let's set a little ground rules on how we're going to do this and how we're going to play so that we can make sure that everyone um, stays in the loop. Okay, we want to keep everyone in the loop. So, um, with that being said, hold on, am I? It better be logged in. Oh no, stop. Okay. I think I am. I think currently we are on um, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok and YouTube. Okay. So let me pull up all of those chats because I don't know if it automatically pulls all those up. I don't think that the TikTok lets me. Okay, so that window's up, and I believe the rest of them I can see here. Okay, so let's talk about how we do this, right? We want to make sure that we can get answers to the questions that we need, but we also want to make sure that we are staying within the guidelines of whatever program you're watching this on or whatever app you're watching this on. And many of those apps have built-in moderators that flag certain words and certain comments where you won't, those words are not allowed. I still want to answer your question, okay? No matter what your question is, no matter what it's about, I do still want to answer it. So, for us to be able to do that, you can leave your questions in the chat, okay? Drop your questions, whatever questions you have. And if you do not see me answer that question, then it may not have populated on my end, which means that whatever app you're using, the in-house moderators have, kicked it out. So, I cannot see that question. But if you re-ask the question and leave out the words, the spicy words, I'm really good with my context clues, so I can still answer the question. I might ask for a little bit more information, but I want to leave this space open for you to be able to ask the questions that you need to ask. Many of us, and I don't know where you are in the world, but worldwide, I can say this confidently, we do not put an emphasis on sex education, even though worldwide everyone is having sex, right? All of the people are having sex, but we're not necessarily having the conversation about how to do that in a healthy manner, how to practice consent, how to center pleasure, all of those types of things. And it doesn't matter what type of body you currently inhabit, you are likely still missing very important parts of sex education and sexual health. So, that is where I come in. My name is Catasha Gordon. I have been teaching sex education for 11 years now. I actually started on Craigslist, if that gives you any idea how this journey's been going. so, um, I've been doing it for a very long time. I've been, talking. I've been on hand, hands on the ground, boots on the ground, whatever need to be on the ground to help people, individuals, figure out how to amplify and how to have healthy sexual relationships and healthy relationships overall. And a lot of that has to do with an absence of knowledge. There's some things that you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? But there's also that there are not a lot of outlets or resources for you to have the discussions you need to have. Statistically, only about 30% of doctors are comfortable talking to their patients about sexual health, and the number is even smaller when it comes to patients that are comfortable talking to their doctors about their sexual health. So if only 30% of people are having the conversation, that's leaving 70% of individuals statistically with no knowledge about what's going on with their bodies, what's going on with their partner's bodies, their kids' bodies, anybody's body. We have no idea what's going on. And so I want to be a resource to help those who are looking for some semblance of how do I make this work? What does a complete sexual health profile look like? What does it look like to be fully educated on sex, or not even fully educated, or just having the ability to ask for resources on sexual health? And so that's where I come in. So if you are tuned in, feel free to leave your sexual health questions in the chat. If you are shy and you don't want people in your business, which I completely understand, you can message me and I will bring that question back to the chat. And that way it won't be attached to your name if that's what you require or that's what you want. However we need to do it to be able to get you the information that you need, I'm here for it. So let me change this. On Twitter, it says my primary topic is gaming, and I want to take that off because I don't want to you have to be 18 years or older to view and participate in this chat. So if you are not 18 or years or older, I'm going to ask you to find some more appropriate resources for your sex education. There are actually a lot more resources for children and for young adults and adolescents than there are for adults. So you actually are going to have an easier time finding sex education material for adolescents than you will for adults. So, I'm sorry, you got to go. But if you are 18 or older, feel free to leave your questions in the chat, to drop them in. Or if you want to email me, you can do that. If you are on any of the social media platforms, you can also send those questions to any of my social medias. I have been better about checking my box of the people who I don't, of my non-friends and followers. I've been better about that. So I will be able to grab your question out of there as well. You can go to my link tree and find any of my social media, wherever you are. Um, if you see it on my link tree, then you can send me a message on there and I will answer those questions for you. Now, we did get some questions prior to this for the last week. Actually, this is from 2 weeks ago. I don't know when they actually came in, but the last time that we streamed for Ask Coach Catasha was a couple of Wednesdays ago because my birthday passed. And you know me, I'm a black woman. I take off for my birthday. I will not be at work. Not on my big day. No, ma'am. So I have been gone, but we are back now, and we have some fresh new questions for Ask Coach Catasha. Now, I have tried to make these where we won't get in trouble, but you know, there's still the possibility that could happen. Hey, we take risks, right? We take risks. So, first question I have, and let me add this to the front so that you'll know that you're not just randomly coming into a conversation. User question: can I get an STI from oral sex? Let me put that in here. Okay. Can I get an STI from oral sex? That was the question that was submitted, and the answer to that question is absolutely yes. When we talk about sexually transmitted diseases and infections and prevention, we're usually talking about, making sure you're wrapping it up, making sure you're wrapping it up. You make sure you have a condom. You need to have a condom. But we are rarely, ever talking about the importance of oral to genital contact. And oral to genital contact can absolutely, and you will end up with an STI. There are plenty of STIs that are transferred by fluid. And so even if you are wearing a condom, there are still certain STIs that don't care about that. Like Trick doesn't care about that. And I don't know what the fancy name for it is, but Crabs doesn't care that you're wearing a condom because that's in your pubic hair. It's in your mons pubis. And so things like that, there are situations, and genital warts. Genital warts also doesn't care about a condom because the genital warts can appear in the full area of the genitals. And so if it's on the side, if it's on the legs, if it's on a lip, all of those things, if other parts of your body are coming in contact with that virus, then yes, you will get an STI. Now, an STI is also common. You can get an STI from oral to anal activity. So you being back there and doing what you do, you can absolutely end up with some type of infection, even if you are using a condom, if you use the condom during the sex. So yes, you need to be, if you are participating in oral sex, then you need to, or any type of oral to anal, oral to genital, oral to oral even, because herpes, there are two types. There's 1 and 2, and I believe 1 is in the mouth and 2 is in the genitals. You can swap those two types of herpes from kissing. If someone goes down on someone else and then you kiss them, you can get type 2 orally from that. You can also get, we did it Monday, we did a class on HPV. You can get HPV in the back of your throat from oral contact. So absolutely, you can 100% get an STI from oral sex. And so what you want to do is that if you are engaging in different types of oral to body activity, trying to keep us up, which I don't know how, that's probably already going to get us in trouble, but whatever. But what you need is a dental dam. And I don't fault people for not using them because dental dams are so much harder to acquire than condoms are. All of these things should be readily available for sexually active adults, but they are not. Let me show you. Give me a second. I'm going to go and grab a dental dam so that you can see it, and then I'll be right back. I have a little. Hold on. Where's my little? Be right back. Because I did that. Okay. See you in a moment. All right, I'm back. I'm back. So here is my contraceptives jar. This is just a jar that I keep readily available whenever I'm trying to talk about sex education. So, of course, you've heard of condoms. You know that condoms exist and that is a thing, but they also have for protection from oral, when you're having oral sex on a vulva or having oral anally, you can use a dental dam. You can't, unfortunately, you can't just go in somewhere and buy these. If you are watching this on TikTok right now, I do have a video pinned to the top of my TikTok that shows how you can turn a regular condom into a dental dam if you need to, but it's best to just have these on hand. They do have the kind that are actually used by dentists, dental dams, which I'm sure this is probably inspired by, but it's, you're going to be looking at an actual dental dam. These are flavored. This company has many different flavors of the dental dams, but essentially what you're going to do, and I might try to, I have not figured out how to like do the thing on Patreon yet, so I'm gonna have to do some more work on that. But so here is essentially what it's going to look like. This is going to be your dental dam that you are going to be using to protect yourself during oral activities. Okay, you can lay this dam, and this is actually flavored. I don't know if it's flavored and colored with the flavor because it is grape. It doesn't smell grape. It doesn't smell great, but it is grape. This flavor is grape. And so you will lay this dental dam across either the vulva, or you're going to lay it across the anus, and that is going to protect you from being able to contract or share any of the bodily fluids. Many of the STIs that you are concerned about can be shared through fluid to fluid contact. And so this barrier is to stop you from being able to share fluids with another person. And so it's called a dental dam. And for this dental dam, you will have it melds to the body, so it kind of warms up. It's really thin, like you can see my hand through there. Um, so it doesn't feel invasive. It's not thick. It's not heavy. And the advantage of using an actual dental dam versus using a condom that you've turned into a dental dam is that condoms are often lubricated, and so they have that that weird kind of lubrication taste. If you are being safe, you know what I'm talking about. And if you are turning a condom into a dental dam, you have to be very conscious about the side of the condom that you are using, because the outside of the condom usually has some type of lubrication, or sometimes they also have spermicide and other things on them as well to help cut down on the likelihood of getting pregnant. The dental dam will come with instructions, tell you how to use it. It has an expiration date on it, tell you when it was manufactured, and when it's still good for. All of your condoms, every condom that you've ever used in your life also has an expiration date. You need to be aware of that. Most people are not aware that condoms have expiration dates. Condoms and dental dams do have expiration dates, so you need to make sure that you are using a dental dam if you are going to be engaging in oral activity, or making sure that you're using a condom as well. But again, if you are not using any type of protection in that manner, yes, you can still get an STI. And I believe I had saved. Ah, yes. Okay, I had saved this thing that has the barrier contraceptives on it. And so barrier contraceptives are going to be a type of birth control that prevents sperm from reaching an egg by physically blocking it. But it also physically blocks the sharing of fluids so that it protects against STI as well. But not all barrier contraceptives protect against the same types of sexually transmitted infections. So for a condom with typical use is about 87% effective. The condom covers the penis. It has multiple sizes available, and it protects against most STIs in pregnancies. Not all, but most. As far as the dental dam, they don't know how effective it is. There was not enough data to speculate, but it does protect against STIs. It has flavored options, and it's used for mouth to genital anal contact. So you can use that to block certain types of STIs. It will not protect you against pregnancy because that's not what it's for. And so whatever type of contraceptive you're using, you just have to make sure that you are using what you need for the type of activity you're engaging in, and also what you're trying to protect yourself from. So in most cases, I, as the expert in this conversation, say that you need to be using at least 2 forms of contraceptives for your sexual encounters. And by 2 forms of contraceptives, I mean something to block. There are barrier contraceptives, and then there are contraceptives that prevent pregnancy, like birth control and IUDs and things like that. You need to be using at least 2 of those. So if you're using a condom, you need to be using spermicide. If you're using a diaphragm, you need to be using a condom as well. If you're using a vaginal condom, you need to be using spermicide, and you could use a penis condom. You don't have to. You usually don't need to use 2 barrier methods, but I do know that there are certain cases of people who want to be extra careful that they are not sharing fluids, and so they do go that extra mile. It is not necessary, because you could wear off the 2 types of materials from the barrier contraceptives. The vaginal condom and the penis condom could interfere with each other, and then there's even a bigger conversation about the type of lubes you use, because there's only certain types of lubes that you need to use with certain types of barrier contraceptives. Whoa, that was not what I meant to click on. Sorry. My bad. That was another class. Mind your business. Okay. So it is important that again, when you were told about sexual health, and when you were having the discussions about sex education, a lot of it runs around pregnancy and condoms. But there are big holes in that, because a lot of people are still engaging in oral activity, sometimes even without engaging in any other type of sexual activity. And you are still absolutely at risk for contracting a sexually transmitted infection, even if you only engaged in oral activity. So, yes, long answer. You absolutely can get an STI from oral sex. All right. That was a good one. Okay, let me get a little bit of water. Okay. Now, keep in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. You can omit any other types of words or anything you want to leave out. If you do have a question and you're kind of concerned about how to ask that question, or concerned about the language, I am leaving space open for you to learn. And sometimes that means having a conversation about things that you may not have the language for. So I am not going to fault you if you don't have the language to explain what it is that you're trying to ask, I will correct you and get you on the right path so that when you're telling the people what you learned, that you learned in the right way. But I am leaving grace for you to ask in whatever way feels comfortable for you, because I would rather you have the information and know than sit here and be worried about the semantics of different words. So, again, now on top of that, we are online and they will block some of our stuff and they will cancel our pages. I get canceled all the time. They my page get blocked all the time. But I always come back because this is an educational post. I'm never here to try to convince you to do something. I am only here to make sure that you are engaging in behavior safely and being a resource for the type of stuff that you like to get into. Okay. I am not here to judge. I don't care. I actually want to encourage you to even be more reckless if I can. Safely. But I am not the coochie police. Okay, that is not my job. I am not the dick detective. I do not care what you are doing with your body parts. I just want to make sure that you are having fun and that, well, first of all, that everybody's of age, and that everybody's having fun. That's my job. I'm supposed to help you to pull that off. And so I'm not here to judge you. I do not care about how often or who or what you are, what you are doing with your butthole when you're not here. I do not care. I'm just here to make sure that you and that butthole are having a good time. That's my job. Okay? So please feel free to leave your questions in the chat. If you want to leave them in the chat, you can. If you want to email them to me, you can do that too. Whatever you need to do. But I am here to help you. I am here to answer your sexual health questions. Okay? I'm here for you. All right. What's the next question that we have? Oh, this was a good one too. Okay. These questions that I am sending are questions that were sent to my email. So if you were the one who asked it and I am not addressing exactly what you are talking about, please feel free to email me again, or you can hop in the chat and say, hey, that's not what I meant. Whatever you want to do. Because a lot of the times I've realized that many people's questions make them uncomfortable. People's sexual health questions can make them uncomfortable, and they don't really give you all the information that you might need. Just because they're like, let me just hurry up and get it off. And so that's fine. That also leaves it open to interpretation for me. What you meant by the question, on what you were asking. And so, if I'm wrong, you please feel free to correct me. I am not above being corrected at all. So, hey Jamie, how you doing, girl? So yes, if you feel comfortable dropping your question in the chat, I'm totally okay with that. If not, you can always send it to me, and I will be happy to bring that question back here for you, and we will still answer it live. I'll still answer the question live, but it just doesn't have to be attached to your name. If you work a corporate job and you don't want people in your business, I absolutely get that. And you're here asking about, how to clean out your butt. I get it. But I'm here to teach you how to clean out your butt. I don't care about your corporate job. So if that's what you need help with, that's what I'm here for. Okay. Which is also funny because I do plan on, I did my, hygiene for college bound adults, and I'm going to re-record that, and I'm going to make it a hygiene course for sexually active adults, because I'm realizing that many people don't know how to take care of their bodies in a capacity that leaves room for a healthy sexual relationship. And the healthy sexual relationship sometimes is to with your body, like how you feel about your body. Okay, let's see. How to help with dryness during menopause. Okay, so yes, vaginal dryness is one of the side effects of menopause and actually perimenopause. because that lubrication is an indicator of how much estrogen you have in your body. So there are things that you can do. Of course, nothing is going to be as much as replacing the hormones that you're losing, but there are some natural things that you can do to make sure to help with that dryness. First things first is that you're going to have to slow down exponentially. You will still be able to make lubrication. It just may not come as fervently as it came before. Okay. So you may need a little bit more time to warm up. You also need to play around a little bit more with your pleasure triggers to try to get your body to understand that we're in our arousal process and that we're ready for some more of that lubrication. Again, none of it is going to make it as it was pre, full estrogen load. But yeah, you can do some things, drinking more water. And all of these things are things that work in conjunction with each other. Just drinking more water is not going to make your lubrication return. You're going to have to do a number of things to replace the that what estrogen was providing. But there are different type of I have heard phenomenal things about slippery elm. I don't know if it has any kind of other interactions with other medicines or medications. I do not know that. I would absolutely check into that, but I have heard slippery elm definitely does the job. I've also heard on a natural level that okra water, okra water also, some people have had success with drinking more of like okra water and things like that. Maca root is also a good supplement to have that will help some of those other menopausal symptoms as well. It helps with hot flashes. It helps calm anxiety. So it does a lot of other things that will also help your perimenopause or menopause, but it also can make your lubrication a little bit more, to give you a little bit more. And then another thing that you can do, okay, this is deep in the trenches, okay? This is deep, as I'm telling you now, we deep in. So inside of your vagina, your vaginal canal, is your anterior fornix, which is going to be the top part of your vaginal wall, okay? So your anterior fornix is going to be right on that where you could pat your mons pubis. It's going to be right under there. If you go into your vaginal canal and your cervix, I really need to buy something that shows. I'm going to make it or something. But your cervix is like a donut inside of your vaginal canal. When you get to the end of your vaginal canal, there's a donut back there, and that's your cervix. And there's a small hole in that cervix, and that's where your menstrual blood and all those things come out from. In that cervix, when you get to the back of that wall, you can either go to the top or you can go to the bottom. The top is going to be your anterior fornix, okay? And that is what they call the A spot. The A spot has been known to increase lubrication in the body without accessing the brain. Okay, you can study this. I'm not making this up. It is a button that you can push in there, and it's going to be, again, this is your cervix. And so your A spot's going to be here. Your O spot's usually here. Your cervix is right here in the middle, but that is also very sensitive. So some people are able to have or experience orgasm from pressing in that area as well. But if you get up on that top, on that anterior fornix of that circle, that area in there is a collection of nerves, and that collection of nerves has been known to bypass the brain and automatically create new lubrication. And in the study, they said within 10 minutes, you were able to see a noticeable increase in lubrication down there from stimulating that spot. So that's also something you can do. And again, when you start going through menopause, we have to start being creative, okay? When we young and in the streets and we young and turnt, we don't have to do that much, right? We don't have to do that much. But when we get older, and if we still want to do things when we get older, all of our bodies are going to change. That's male bodies, that's female bodies, that's every body. All bodies are going to change with age. And it's our responsibility to find a new way to access our pleasure and not rely so much on what our young body was able to do. So we will have to get, a little bit deeper off in there. We have to do a little bit more. So getting older does make it more difficult, but the great thing about intimacy when you become older is that you know what you want and you become really good at making that thing happen. And so, just to, because I know that everybody can't see this on TikTok, the question was how to help with dryness during menopause. And so the suggestions are going to be slippery elm. I've heard slippery elm is really good. I've heard people have had success with okra water. Maca root is going to be really good for helping with menopausal symptoms. And then direct stimulation of that A spot should get you some more lubrication to that. Now, outside of all of that, you can buy lubrication. You don't have to make it. You can buy it. You can buy whatever you need. You don't have to make that. And so let me see if I have do I still have it up here? But we talked about lubrication a couple of months back, and I shared a graph, but I don't know if it's still on here. Oh, don't make me sensitivity. Okay, it says she is not lying. I've been listening to her for a while. She helped me so much after hysterectomy. I love you so much. I love you so much. Thank you, Miss Bliss. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help. I want you to be able to have a healthy sex life. I want you to have a healthy sexual existence. And I want to talk to you about the things that nobody wants to talk to you about. I'm not embarrassed about it. You can't, you can't embarrass me. Okay. We can talk about the inner creases of your butthole and I will be locked in. I do not care because my goal is to help you become a whole sexual being. And there are a lot of people who have spent so much of their time having to address their sexuality under trauma, under, abuse, under manipulation, and all these other things. And so it makes it difficult to see yourself as a sexual being if you've never had control of that narrative. So I'm here to give you control of the narrative and to tell you that nobody can take it from you. And if they do want to take it from you, you can tell them to come see me. Okay? Tell them to come see me because I don't care nothing about it. Okay, let's see which one of these. Okay, I'm going to give a trigger warning because I don't know what's about to pop up on this screen. Okay? But I think one of these might be my my lubrication model. I don't know, but let's see. Maybe not, but we'll see. Okay, what's that? Nope, that is not it. What's this one? Nope. And then, maybe I don't have it on here anymore. But let me find it. I'll find it. Hold on. Let me give you a model on lubrications because different type of lubrications can do different things. And depending on the type of interaction that you're trying to have, you want to make sure that you're choosing the right type of lubrication. So let me find my graph. Hold on. Okay, let's add a new one. And let's see, because I built let's see if my computer will find it or do I have to go look for it myself. But I built a graph that can help you with the different types of lubrication. But the biggest thing that you need to be aware of is that you needing lubrication is not It does not mean that you're less of a woman. It does not make you. Many people have feelings, and they have, these predetermined notions about lubrication, and needing it, and you just supposed to be Miss Wet Wet and blah blah blah. Listen, there's nothing wrong with using lubrication, especially if you don't have a lot of time. There's so many reasons why you will need lubrication in your life. There's so many reasons. Okay, here is that, so I know it's not far behind. Where are you? Oh, you know what? I could probably search under here. Is that it? Let me see. Quick look. Nope, that's the one I already have. What about you? Also, the one I already have. Okay, what about you? No, that's an old one. Dang, I know that I made it. I may have to post it. Maybe I'll post it on my social media. Here we are. I found it. Never mind. Okay. So here's an infographic that I created to kind of give you an idea on what kind of lube you should use. Again, needing lubrication there's nothing wrong with needing lubrication. Again, your life is going to change so many times throughout. Sometimes you might just want a quickie and you really don't have time to make the juice. Like, we got 10 minutes. These kids is going to be home. And if you need lubrication for that, you just need lubrication for it. And that's all that it is to it. And so don't beat yourself up for needing lubrication at any point in your life. If you can buy it, you can have it up there like perfumes. That's what I think. Put it on the shelf and put as many up there for different reasons. What we doing today? Okay, well, let's use this one. Well, okay, you want to do this today? Then let's use this one. So let's look at some of the lubrications, what they are, and when you should be using them. So this is just a small. This is not all the lubes. This is just a guide to kind of help you know what kind of lubrication you can use and when to use it. So a water-based silicone, a water-based you can use it for silicone toys. So if you have the Real Feel, those type of toys, it's good for vaginal sex, and it's good for latex and non-latex condoms. The cons of that is that water-based lubricants dry faster, of course, and they don't work well in water play. So if you're in a pool or if in a jacuzzi, a water-based lubricant is not going to be the best option for you. A silicone-based lubricant is good for anal sex, for a latex and non-latex condoms, and it's also good for water play because it doesn't dry out. A water-based lubricant in water is just going to go home. So silicone-based is going to stay where you need it to stay. It's going to do the job that you want it to do. It is not going to be good for silicone toys because it will break down the material in the silicone toys, and it also leaves that kind of a sticky residue. So you will see that, it is going to be thicker, so it is going to have a residue left behind. A hybrid, which is most popular lubrications, are going to be under this hybrid status. Hybrids are good for penetration. They're safe for sex toys because they are usually water-based, and they're good for sensitive skin. Again, because they are good for they are usually water-based and silicone-based or something else. They're usually water and silicone-based. They are not good for water play because it is water-based, and it may contain parabens, which you don't want. So just be on the lookout for that. And then oil-based, you will not see these as much, but they do have a place. They're really good for massage and good for water play because they won't go anywhere. But they are not good for penetration because they will interact with the vaginal microbiome, and not good for condoms because they will break down the latex. The lubrication will break down the latex in the condoms. And then what you want to avoid, flavored, of course, are good for oral sex, and they're good for massage, but they are not good for penetration, and for some of the same reasons. You do not want to introduce the things that they make it for it to be flavored into the vagina, because you can get a yeast infection. It'll throw off the bacteria that you already have present. And it's just mostly should be used from uh, just outside play, external play. What do you want to avoid when you are looking at different lubrications? You want to avoid any glycerol or glycerin in the, if you notice it in the ingredients. Premium petroleum or mineral oil is also not going to be good. Parabens, we want to stay away from any kind of chemicals or any kind of extra thing to be adding. You don't want to add nothing else into the vaginal microbiome that you don't need to, okay? And then fragrances, just for the same reason. You don't want any of that getting into and messing up the vaginal microbiome. But it also can cause, like, those warming massage oils. If they get into the urethra of a penis, it burns. So you just have to be very careful when you're using lubrications. It is like perfumes. Like, you need to know what type of lubrication that you're wanting to use for the type of activity that you're trying to get into. But again, there is absolutely nothing wrong with needing lubrication in your intimate encounters. You are not less than or more or anything else. If your coochie just get wet because you want it to, good for you. Okay, that is not everybody's life, and also doesn't make you any better than anyone else. So, and even you, Miss Wet Deluxe, at some point in time are going to need lubrication. So I think we hold on real hard to, all of the stereotypical value that we put in what a vagina is supposed to do, when in actuality, a vagina is just as finicky as an underarm, as any other part of the body. So you could wake up one day and the deodorant that you've been wearing since you were in 6th grade no longer works, and you stink all the time. the same deodorant that you've been using this whole time, one day you gonna wake up and it ain't gonna work no more. Okay, so your body is going to change. It's going to do different things, and it is not helpful to hold on to what it used to do when you can pretty much supplement that in your body with outside and external tools. And you are going to need external tools. If you are a human, you are going to need external tools. So don't feel pressed about having to use it, or about having to needing lubrication. So what? The coochie is still gonna do what the coochie supposed to do. So it's still gonna rip it up. What you want? We can put it on there. We cannot. It's up to you. So just don't let a lot of those things determine the worth of your intimacy, because it is not a determinant of the worth of your intimacy. So I hope that helped, Jamie girl. I hope that helped. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Look, let me check in the chats. If y'all have any sexual health questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I am here to answer whatever you need me to answer. I'm here for you. And I am open to whatever questions you have. I am not here to judge you. I am super uninterested in, I'm not going to say uninterested because I am nosy. I want to know what you're doing. Hey, how are you? I am excited to see you because I saw that you subscribed to my Patreon. Thank you. Now, as soon as I figure out how to make it work, we in the money, okay? Because right now, I don't know. I pulled all of that stuff out. I pulled all of these toys out of my storage because I was ready, to go live on Patreon. I'm finna go live. I'm finna show them these toys. I got it plugged up. I had stuff set up. And, girl, I got on there. It was like, live? What you talking about? You can record something and put it on there if you want to, but... So I guess I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to record. So I appreciate you for supporting the journey. Just as a side note, if you are currently wanting to help further sex education for adults, I am opening a Patreon where I can talk a little bit more in depth about some of the things that I'm not able to talk about on here. Like, I'm pretty sure when I get off of this call, TikTok is going to tell me that when we get off this stream, they're going to tell me my access has been revoked. It happens every Wednesday. They're going to tell me it's been revoked, and I'll have to reapply and all of that stuff and whatever. But I want to be able to give you the information that you need without without other people deciding what's the part you need to know and the part that you don't need to know. I want you to know everything, and then you can decide what you want to do with the information. Thank you. I appreciate you so, so much. So if you want to join my Patreon, you can join for $3 a month, and that's going to be our introductory up until October. But even if you join right now at $3 a month, you will be lifetimed into whatever it grows into, right? And if you know me, I'm super loyal. I fuck with my people. So you never know. You never know what could happen. I might just be like, hey, I'm in New York and I'm at a party and I was trying to see what you're doing. You never know. I'm that kind of girl. That's all I'm saying, is that I'm that kind of girl. So join my Patreon, be a part of my family. Help me disseminate this information. I want to help as many people as I can. I keep seeing this is updating, but I don't see any questions. So I'm thinking that people might be asking stuff that's not making it in, okay? Because my screen keeps popping like it's updating, but the question isn't coming up. So if you are currently asking me a question and you do not see me answering that question, it may be that the system has used its moderations to block what you are asking. So I'm gonna ask you to ask again and just leave out the spicy words. And if I can, listen, I'm a journalism major, baby. You see the paperwork. I got up the wall. I'm really good with my context clues, and thank you for all you do. Oh, y'all make me cry. I'm out here working. I'm working. Like, that's my whole goal. I really, really just want you to have this information, and knowing that you aren't getting it, it just feels unfair to me. It feels unfair, and I feel like we set humans up. We know more about the sex practices of birds and like lions and all other kind of stuff than we know about like the sex practices of humans, because people aren't having the conversations. And so I want to be that gateway for you to use me as a resource. Ask me, honey. I'll be happy to tell you whatever it is. And I've been doing this so long that the information that I'm giving you I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychoanalyst. I'm not any of that. What I am is a woman who sits in front of people all day long, and I listen to what they got going on. We talk about suggestions. So whatever your issue is, I've most likely already heard of it, and I have at least three things that people have already done that I know could be helpful for you. So when I'm telling you slippery elm, I'm not saying slippery elm because I read it. I'm saying it because my clients are coming back saying like, bitch, I took this and let me tell you what happened. And so, but no, if you're not having that conversation, you're never going to know that that's what people are using that for. So please, if you don't want people in your business, I 100% understand that. You can send those questions to me, expressionofrepression@gmail.com, or you can send them to any of my social media inboxes. I will be happy to bring that question back to the chat on your behalf, and we can talk about it live still, because I want you to be able to get the information. I don't want you to think that, I'm on here lying or making stuff up. I'll give it to you live. I'll tell you what I know. And if I don't know, I know how to research. That is one thing that I learned to being I have a BA in communications and media. So first things first, I know how to find a good resource. Secondly, when I went to school for sex education, they taught us it was imperative that we knew how to look up data and how to research, how to find newer sources, how to look at peer reviews, all those type of things. So even if I don't know, I know how to find it. I know how to go look for it. So don't be afraid to ask me whatever you need to ask me. And again, I'm not here to judge you. I'm actually here to encourage you to do more of it. I want you to do 2 more, actually. So, but while we bringing it up, I want you to do a little bit more. So, that's what I'm here for. I appreciate. I got some people here who like know me and like, makes me happy. Because again, I've been at this for a while, and I've been working, silently on the back end. That's who I am. That's what I'm here for. If you need me, you can do I do private coaching, so you can make an appointment with me. We can talk about what you have going on. Like Ms. Bliss said, if you've recently had a hysterectomy or you're going to have a hysterectomy, I can guarantee you that there's information that you do not know about what's going to happen to your body. I can guarantee you. So if you want to, if that, this is a scary situation for you, vasectomies, we can talk about those. All of these types of things, I am here to be a resource for you. So use me up, okay? Use me up. I don't mind. I got more than enough. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the people who trust me and let me into their lives, give me their information, all of those things. So shout out to y'all. Yeah, I mean, for as long as I've been doing this, y'all must fuck with me. You must fuck with your girl. So I definitely appreciate that, and I'm glad that I can be that type of resource for anyone who needs it. Okay. All right. We got another question. Let me put this. This one was from the inbox. User question: can I get pregnant if we only had sex once? Let me drop that in here. Answer: absolutely. Absolutely. And if we want to get technical, it's so crazy. You would think that the way that people get pregnant, that you could just get pregnant anytime, all the time. You literally can only get pregnant for 36 hours. The egg is only traveling through your body for 24 to 36 hours. And that's it. All them other days, you're supposed to be good, right? You're supposed to be good. So here's the thing. Right? Okay, so we talked about, do I still have that? I believe I do. Menstrual phases. Okay. So here's your cycles, right? These are your phases. You're bleeding during this phase. Okay. Your menstrual phase. You're bleeding. Right after you get finished bleeding, you start your follicular phase. Your follicular phase is the phase where your body is going through the process of rebuilding and recreating the environment for the baby that it's expecting next month. And in that time frame, your body will choose an egg, right? And so when you get into the ovulation phase is when your body has chosen the egg, it separates from the pack. And if you are in tune with your body, you can actually feel when that happens. And here's a tip. You know how you feel like you have gas, like in one side in the back, on one side on, that feeling of like, I think I got gas, but it's a kind that's high up in the body. It'll feel like that. You will have a day where you feel like you have gas. That's going to be the day that ovary is choosing which egg is coming out. And if you are in tune with your body, you will know if it's going to be an egg on the left or an egg on the right. My body likes to favor the eggs on the left. I don't know why. This one is always booming and bunking. And it's not this egg, that egg, or this ovary, that ovary, this ovary, that ovary. The body has a favorite. So it can just over here, and then one over here, and then over here, and over here, and then two over here. And so your body doesn't switch off on ovaries on where that egg is coming from. It can choose this one over and over and over if it wants to. So once it picks that, right, that egg travels for 24 to 36 hours down into, it leaves the ovaries, it goes through the fallopian tubes, and it goes on down, and it's looking for sperm. It's looking for the sperm, right? And if there's no sperm present, no baby gets made. And you will move into the luteal phase. And so for that luteal phase is when the body realizes that, okay, so we not getting a baby. You whack for that. Let's go ahead and start, getting the body breaking down, and it'll flood the body with the during the ovulation phase, the progesterone in the body goes up, peaks up high. Well, once the baby does not show up, the progesterone drops dramatically, and you will start to get into the luteal phase. And that progesterone dropping is what tells the body, hey, there's no baby here, so we need to start breaking down this environment. And then once the environment breaks down, that's when you bleed. So it goes in during that phase. During your follicular phase and your ovulation phase, your cervical wall starts thickening and, preparing for an egg to implant on that wall if the sperm is available. And so here's the thing. Although it's only 36 hours that you can get pregnant, sperm can live in the vagina for up to 7 days. Okay? If sperm can live in the vagina for 7 days, then that means that if that egg is traveling through there, it can absolutely run into a sperm that you did not from that day, not from the day before, and not from the day before, but it can live up to 7 days. And so it's so important that you know your body's cycle, because you can start mapping out exactly when you are safe from getting pregnant if you can get it down to a 7-day window. And in that 7-day window, you can use additional protection and you can avoid getting a baby, because again, that egg is only going to be present for 36 hours. And so the egg is there waiting to see if sperm is going to meet it. But if there's no sperm there, it goes on about its business and it comes out, during the menstrual phase. But if there is the sperm there, that egg is going to implant on that uterus, and a little old Charlie Jr. is going to start growing in there. So it doesn't matter how many times you have sex. It doesn't matter the intensity. It doesn't matter if the two people orgasm. It doesn't matter if you leave your legs up. It doesn't matter any of that. The only thing that needs to happen is that when that egg shows up, that there is sperm there waiting to meet it. And if that sperm is there waiting to meet it, then a baby comes. And so how many times you had sex has no bearing on that at all. It does not care how often, you were pluking. Only thing that matters is that when that egg showed up, was there some soldiers in there waiting for him? So the body is such a crazy, contraption, because when I first learned that, that egg actually only lasts about a day, you'd how are people getting pregnant? It was an ambush. Absolutely. That's exactly. It's absolutely an ambush. You are right. It's in there waiting. And so sometimes, even for an ectopic pregnancy, for example, if you have a pregnancy that where it implants itself on the fallopian tubes or all those types of things, if that's where the egg meets it, that's not something that's supposed to happen. And that's kind of one of the reasons that we're having all this discourse around abortions right now. There's so much that you don't know. 1 in 6 pregnancies end in miscarriage. That's overall. 1 in 6 pregnancies ends in miscarriage. Most of those happen before people even know that they're pregnant. So the number could actually be higher, right? So when you start talking about abortion access and someone has an ectopic pregnancy is fatal, because what's happening is that egg has implanted itself somewhere where it cannot live. So if it implants itself on your fallopian tubes, your fallopian tubes will burst and you will bleed internally, you will get sepsis, and you will die. So if that happens and someone needs to terminate that pregnancy, now we're getting into abortion laws, and now we're getting into, fatalities. And also, as a blurb, let me remind you that according to the CDC, 84% of maternal deaths are preventable. Okay? So what does that mean? That means that every single person who has ever died is in a statistic where it is a likelihood that they were supposed to survive. They are all 84% of maternal deaths are preventable. And who's the number one casualty of maternal mortality? Black women. Black women. Regardless of education, regardless of financial status, regardless of resources, regardless of any of those things, a woman being black and being pregnant automatically increases the likelihood that she will not survive that pregnancy, because she will not get the care that, and that's the 84% is that it was preventable if she had had the proper care, if the doctor had listened to her, if she had access to the resources, if, all these other things, if someone could have done the job that they were supposed to do, that death would have been prevented. And as someone who has lost their sister to maternal mortality, that infuriates me. It infuriates me that we are willing to put black bodies on the line for political gain. I don't care if you don't believe in abortion or not. I don't care. Don't get one. I don't believe in hijabs, and I don't have one. I believe in it for you. You can have one. I don't have one. I don't believe in purity culture. I don't believe in none of that stuff. And so I'm not going to push any of that on you. You are your own person, your own life. Whatever is necessary for your health is necessary. I believe you should have. It's a necessary need. And abortion is a necessary need, especially if 1 in 6 pregnancies end in miscarriage. And the thing about miscarriage is that you can have a baby that you absolutely want. There are people who are experiencing the loss of losing a child that they fought for, that they wanted, that they did all the things for, because the body doesn't care about that. But when it's time for that baby to get itself out of the body, it can't always do that, because the body is supposed to prepare and take on that child. But if the body cannot do it, it will absolutely self-delete a wanted pregnancy. And then we punish those people, because if they cannot get the care that they need, they could lose access to having children in the future. And that is what has happened to women in this last couple of years. At least in the last year, I've seen stories all the time of someone who lost an ovary or had to get a hysterectomy, or their fallopian tubes ruptured, and they had to do all these different things because of a pregnancy that they were trying to carry. I want this baby. And so I don't know. You don't get me on my soapbox about this administration and the way that we taking care of business, because this is very pilgrim behavior. I'll tell you that. This is very pilgrim behavior, and I do not support that. So, so I'm going to say something controversial, and I'm standing 10 toes in it, okay? This is not the time to be getting pregnant. I know. And I know that many times it happens to people, and that they, some people don't plan for that. And some people are not. That's not what they were going for. They just end up that way. I completely get that. At the end of the day, we can't do that. We can't. And, I don't want to encourage you to do something that is dangerous to your health. And carrying a child right now, under the current circumstances, my sister passed in 2016. Okay, that was the first administration. In 2016, my sister passed. We are worse than we were then. And the likelihood that you will not receive the care that you need is super high. Super high, especially if you are in a rural area. I saw a video the other day where there was a man that said there's not a place within 100-mile radius of his town that you can deliver a baby because there are no OBGYNs at those hospitals. It's not, this is not the time. I know, and I know that, some people are getting older and all those things, and I get that. But this on doing in this right now, unless you have a full care team in place, right? I mean, an advocate, a doula, a partner, a doctor that listens to you, a relationship with the hospital in which you're going to deliver, all of those things. It is not safe right now for you to be with child. I don't care what state you in. I don't care where you live or what you're doing. I would not recommend that. And I'm telling you that as a healthcare professional, okay? It's not safe for you to be pregnant right now. It's not. It's also not safe for you to terminate, but it's a better chance of doing that than you losing the ability to procreate in the future and you being left with no alternatives, no choices, no anything if that baby terminates on its own. So just I don't know what to tell you, but I heard Fiji's nice this time of year. You should just do that. Travel. You should travel. Get a bird. You can get a pet bird. Birds live a long time. You can get a bird. Get a cat. It's all kind of things you can do with that time. But I do not think, and especially if you are black, if you are a black woman, this is absolutely not the time for you to be pregnant, because we were dying before this. We were at the top of the list before this. So 10 out of 10 do not recommend. 0 out of 10 actually do not recommend. Don't get pregnant right now. It's not worth it. And I want you to be here. I don't think that people realize what the other side of that looks like. To everyone else, my sister's just a statistic. She's just, someone who met the numbers, who, they don't look at what she left behind, the children, the 2 children she left behind, the one she birthed and the one that she birthed before that. It doesn't talk about the partner she left behind, the mom she left behind. It doesn't have any discussions about what their lives were like. And me as her sister, first of all, I'm the most important. Nobody asked me. I want my sister. I don't know. Firstly, me. And, no one cares about how those deaths are going to impact the people around that person. And to know that there's an 84% chance that my sister's death was preventable, it's infuriating. It's infuriating. And I as someone who works directly in sexual health and in healthcare, I feel dread for black women in this time frame. Like the thought of pregnancy scares me. It makes me so anxious. It makes me so anxious. So, again, travel, go do something, read some good books, go to Japan. I don't know. Just put that energy into something else right now, but do not leave your life. Do not leave your life in the hands of this administration and in this medical community, because you could lose that life. You could lose it for sure. Man, so yeah, I knew a guy in college. We talked about this once before. I called him Smelly Cat. He got someone pregnant that he couldn't even complete the sexual act with. So he wasn't even able to get it all the way in, and Shorty still popped up pregnant. And they did the test, and it was his. Just a little pre. Just all it took was a little pre. He couldn't even get it in, and she still So not only can you get pregnant if you have sex once, you can get pregnant if you never have sex at all. If them swimmers is swimming, if they swimming, it don't even matter. It don't even matter. So, um, yeah, that's a good question though. Like, I know that people, and when you like get into those, although I work directly with adults, I do at time encounter children who, or young adults, adolescents who need guidance. Sometimes parents don't have another outlet, and they like, I know you only do adults, but can you please talk to my baby because I found these pictures. And so I get that. I am not, if you want me to talk to your kid, I'll talk to your kid. But they get really scared when that happens because, they don't have any of this information. They don't know. And so, of course, they're going to go out and have sex. Like, you're not stopping. I hope that every parent of a child understands this. You are not in any way stopping your child from engaging in sexual activity. Okay? You are not. I know you think you are. I know you I know you think it, but you're not. You're not. And especially if you're not talking about it. Like if your conversation is just like, that's just what grown people do and blah blah blah. Baby, them kids is playing in your face. They eating butt on their lunch break. They doing the most. Listen, I'm telling you what these kids is telling me they do. And baby, they are doing the most. Okay? They are doing the most. I took a class from some educators who work specifically with children. They teach adolescent sexual health. And the class that I took was on the definition of kinky because these kids are using choking as a standard form of sexual practice. Like they are unanimously deciding that choking is a part of that. We're talking middle school children, 6th to 8th graders. And we have to have the conversation around choking with 6th to 8th graders. So I'm telling you, if you're not talking to them kids, you playing in your own face. And I know that you as a parent want to just act like this is not happening and that, the kids are just they have figured it out on their own, that you don't have to have that conversation. I want you to know that there are people out there who are hoping that you are not having that conversation so that they can prey on your child. You want to know how I know that? Because your kids are telling me. Them kids are telling me. They are on the phone with adults. They're sending those pictures to adults. There are adults hanging out at those schools, hanging out at them skating rinks, all that stuff. The people who do know about sex are the ones that are introducing your child to sexual activity. So I just want to make sure that you know that you are not doing the Lord's work by not having that conversation and by just pretending that this doesn't exist. And even having just you don't do that, or wait until you this age, or, you should be in love. No, you need to be having conversations about coercion. You need to be having conversations about STDs and STIs. You need to be having conversations about assault. You need to be having conversations about like friends and touch and all these types of things. If you are not having those conversations, you're not saving your child. They are out there doing the freakiest of freaky things. And again, I've been at this for a while, that I've watched different iterations of what children are doing. When I first started doing this, I remember one of the first bombshells that entered my mind was finding out that kids are relegating their sexual activity to the back door to preserve their virginity. That was in 2011-12 that was the thing. So they're literally going back there to avoid losing their virginity. They're not engaging in sexual activity. They're just finding ways around. They're just finding loopholes. And so I know you don't think your kid, and I know you think like, not my baby and blah, blah, blah. Your baby. I'm sorry. Yours too. Your baby is also, I'm sorry. Your baby's out there too. I know. So just be honest with yourself. Have the conversations you need to have. Talk to these kids about sex, about consent, about everything. They need to know. They need to know. And to know that, the children are already doing. So, first of all, what we call choking is actually not choking, it's strangulation. Okay, it's not choking. Choking is when you ingest something and it becomes lodged. Strangulation is hand on the throat. Okay, so we're talking about 6th to 8th graders practicing strangulation. I'm just saying, abstinence only education is not going to work, and a lot of communities are only practicing abstinence only education, and a lot of households are also practicing abstinence only education. And let me see if I can pull up some data on how effective that is. I know. All right, so let's share the screen, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm making it up, right? Just because you can't, don't call me no lie now. So we're gonna take you off. I'm gonna go here, and there we go. What does that say? No. Abstinence only education is largely ineffective at preventing teen pregnancies or sexually transmitted infections, and is not as effective as comprehensive sex education programs. Okay? This is not a new thing. We've known this for a very long time. Abstinence only education is not sufficient to teach youth about sex education. It's not. I don't care. I don't care that you don't want to talk about it. I don't care that it's weird. I don't care about any of that stuff. Okay? At the end of the day, it's not enough. And we are sending these children out into a world where people who are much older than them are already ready to prey on them, right? Already ready to prey on them, because we know that older people have an affinity to younger people, and younger people have an affinity to older people. But some of those relationships are taking place because they are being groomed and led, and they're not in a space where they are learning about their sexuality on their own. They are in a space where they are being introduced to their sexuality, introduced to someone else's sexuality on that person's terms. And so you're not doing your children any service by pretending that sexuality doesn't exist, and pretending that, the little bit, the abstinence only approach that you are taking is good enough. It is not. So if you are a parent, there are plenty of resources out there to teach you about how to talk to your child about sex, about comprehensive sex education, what that looks like. But if there is one thing that I can absolutely tell you that's going to help your child, it is understanding consent. You need to be having the conversation about how your child can advocate for themselves, how they can give consent, how they can take consent, and how to accept someone taking consent away. Those are conversations you need to be having. So I know y'all don't want to talk about, sex and kids. Nobody wants to talk about that. But we have a duty. We all, as adults, have a duty to protect children, and we know that the process that we're using right now doesn't work. So we have to use another process. We have to. I specifically don't work with children, so I can't give tools and tips on what to do or whatever. I can tell you need to talk to your kid and that you need to look at something else. But my specialty is adults, because y'all don't have it either. Right? You don't know either. And nobody's talking to you about it. So it has to be me, because who's talking to you about it? And you need to know too. So even if you don't know what to do or what to have the conversation, if you want to just talk to me about, what you got going on, we can address that, and then you can piece together what you need for your child. But you need to be talking to them, and not only just talking to them. Like, if you know other children, again, 1 in 4 girls will be sexually assaulted before she's 18 years old. 1 in 6 boys will be sexually assaulted before he's 18. So if you know children, who need help. You know children who could use a resource for that area. So, you know, talk to them kids, man. Talk to them. All right. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Let me look through. Let me see. We've been chatting it up. Um. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. I don't know if this showed me. Hold on. Let's see. Let's make sure we're checking all the boxes. Ooh, do I already have a I love that. Okay. So I think we are good. Listen, I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna show up on TikTok, so I guess we'll see. I'll probably be blocked after this, but it's okay. I'll be back one day. I'm not really pressed. If you are on TikTok, I won't be on there often. Because it is so. I have built a relationship with Twitch. I have built a relationship with YouTube, where they know what I do. They look at the information before necessarily blocking me, and I've gone through being blocked enough for them to be like, oh, okay, this is what she's doing. So I don't get censored as often on there, but I do get heavily censored on TikTok, which is fine. That's not my app. I don't care. But, I know that there are people there who need this info as well. And so if you are on any of those other platforms on TikTok, you can find the stream if I don't make it back next week, or whenever they usually do it for like 7 days, but sometimes they do it for longer than that. Again, I don't be pressed about it. When I pull up my Streamlabs, if it says apply for TikTok permission, I know that I've been blocked. But if I get blocked for doing this work with y'all, I'll take that. If I get blocked from helping people and answering sexual health questions and all that, I'll take that. If I can answer the question, if I can help you out, um, I don't care about them blocking me or taking me out. I have other places. But if you, let me see. Let me find it. Hold on. I'll put my little, if you do want um, sexual health information, and you don't want to be, um, you don't want it watered down, I will say, because there's only so much that I can do. It doesn't allow me to say certain things. And like, someone had asked me about uh, I could do this. Erogenous zones. We were talking about. They were asking me about squirting, and that's a common. Like, I get that question very, 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 very often, and I don't mind it because it's an easy question to answer when you're talking about like female ejaculation and things like that. But it does not allow me to answer those questions in a lot of these formats. So I don't. Oop, that's not what I meant to turn off. This is what I meant to turn off. I don't get to use the what I have available to help you in all the places. But on Patreon, it says that I can. So if you want to join my Patreon, I will be talking about more in depth about things and kind of getting in there and using some of the language that we can't necessarily use here, but that I want you to know and to have in your arsenal in case, it comes up. So if you want to join my Patreon, you can. It's $3 a month, and you will be supporting sex education for adults, specifically for African American adults, because I tailor my practice to Black folk. But you will be helping me to get the word out there, pretty much. So, um, so yeah, we will be back here. Let me see. We will be back here tomorrow. So today was Wednesday, which is Ask Coach Catasha. We'll be doing that every Wednesday. So if you didn't have the courage to ask your question this week, you can come by next week, or you can email it to me and I'll bring your question back to the chat next week. If you want to do that, I'm fine with that. If you have, so you can come back tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we do Sex Tech Thursdays. Sex Tech Thursdays is our future of sexuality technology. As we grow more into the technical age, we are introducing different types of technology that sexuality can benefit from. And so in this case, we're going to be talking about smart menstrual cups, which can detect anomalies in the body long before, doctors or anything like that. At least that's what they're being marketed for. So we're going to do some digging on that tomorrow. And then Friday, of course, is Late Night with Coach Catasha, which is my jam, because we just come in and chat and talk and just kind of see what's going on in the sexual health world, what kind of tea is being spread. It's raining. It's raining. Okay, so I was supposed to go on a date. Hold on, let me go back to my screen so I can tell you how that's ruining my plans, okay? So they're doing here in my state, they have a outdoor movie night, and they're doing Love and Basketball on the outdoor movie night. And so I was gonna go and watch. I've never seen Love and Basketball, and not too much. Not too much. Okay. I was outside. I wasn't watching movies. I was outside. I grew up in the outside generation. Okay. So I wasn't hanging around TV. I was outside. So I've never seen Love and Basketball. So I was going to go and watch it with my friends. And so if it does still go on, I do still want to go. But if you go to the Love and Basketball thing and you sit by me, please believe I'm about to be cutting up, because I ain't never seen it. And I have heard like the discourse and stuff about it, but I ain't never seen it. And so, Tay Diggs, don't make me mad. Don't piss me off, okay? Do not PMO. Do not. So, I don't want this to ruin my day with my wife, my best friend. But it's gonna be wet and raining. Oh, man. It makes me upset. It's been like this all day too. Ugh. Okay, whatever. So, yeah, we will be back here tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, to talk about smart menstrual cups and discuss like what's the new technology, what's going on, where you can get them from, all that good stuff. All right. I hope you had a great time. If you've been listening, hanging out, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the people who are participated, left comments, who emailed questions. I appreciate you as well. I hope that you are able to catch the stream where your question is answered, because I do not respond to those. I just copy the question down like, okay, and then I go on about my business. But unless I need some more information or something, I don't talk. So I hope that I was answered your question. If not, please feel free to email me again and clarify yourself. I do not have a problem with that. So I will see y'all back here tomorrow, 12:30 for Sex Tech Thursday.